through the fires of hell and call it a slight breeze. Within the vast and brutal tapestry of the Warhammer 40K verse, few images are as iconic or fear-inducing as that of a space marine clad in Tactical Dreadnought Armour, colloquially known as Terminator plate. These suits represent the pinnacle of personal protection available to the Adeptus Astartes, transforming their already formidable wearers into nigh-unstoppable engines of destruction, capable of enduring firepower that would atomise a battle tank. Among the various patterns of this fabled armour, the Saturnine pattern stands as the most ancient and arguably the most visually imposing, a direct progenitor to later more refined designs. Understanding the Saturnine pattern requires a deep dive into its origins, design philosophy, operational details, and the enduring legacy in the annals of the Imperium. Greetings all, I'm your guide the Archivist. Today I will dive into the details of the Saturnine Terminator armour. Before we begin, please make sure to like and subscribe waypoints, or to join to become an acolyte down below, so that more people can learn from the archives. Originating during the tumultuous Great Crusade era, long before the galaxy was consumed by the heresy that would shatter the fledgling Imperium, Saturnine Terminator armour was developed with a singularly brutal purpose: breaching. Facing Xenos fortresses kilometers deep, fortified void ships, and the adamantine strongholds of recalcitrant human empires, the early legions of Space Marines desperately needed personal armour capable of surviving the most intense close-quarters firestorms imaginable. Standard power armour, while incredibly effective, simply did not offer the necessary resilience for operations that involved teleporting directly into enemy strongholds or walking through breached hull plating under concentrated heavy weapons fire. The Saturnine pattern was the Imperium's first answer to this challenge, a mobile bunker designed to absorb punishment and deliver overwhelming force at point-blank range. The core design philosophy behind the Saturnine pattern was its maximum protection above all else. Its construction involved far heavier and bulkier ceramite and adamantium plating than standard power armour, layered and reinforced to create an almost impenetrable shell. A defining characteristic immediately obvious to any observer is the armour's sheer mass and its integrated weapons systems. Unlike later patterns where weapons might be mounted on a wrist or held traditionally, the Saturnine typically featured a heavy ranged weapon, most commonly an early pattern of Stormbolter or a combi weapon variant, mounted directly into the armour on one arm, often integrated with the forearm or replacing the hand entirely. The other arm was invariably equipped with a potent close combat weapon, usually a massive power fist or, less commonly, a lightning claw, designed to tear through bulkheads, armour plating, and flesh with equal ease. This integration speaks volumes about the armour's intended role, a walking weapon platform designed for relentless forward momentum and brutal close-quarters engagement. Looking closer at the physical details reveals the uncompromising nature of its design. The pauldrons are immense, offering incredible protection to the shoulders and upper torso, but severely restricting lateral arm movement. The helmet is typically deeply recessed into the gorget, often featuring a more primitive, less articulated design compared to later patterns, prioritizing protection over field of view or complex sensor arrays. The torso section is a solid, bulky block, housing not only the wearer but extensive life support, power generation for integrated systems, and formidable armor plating. The legs are similarly encased in thick, inflexible plating, designed for stomping forward rather than agile movement. This inherent lack of articulation, a direct consequence of the focus on maximum armor coverage, meant that Saturnine-clad Terminators were notoriously slow and ponderous. Traversing difficult terrain, climbing ladders, or even navigating tight corridors could be a significant challenge, requiring deliberate, powerful movements aided by potent servo motors. One of the most enigmatic details often associated with the Saturnine pattern is the Cruciator array or auxiliary systems located on the back or shoulders. While often vaguely defined in lore, these are understood to include enhanced communications gear, targeters, limited medical diagnostic systems, and potentially very basic teleportation homing, beacons, or short-range melter charges for obstacle removal. These systems added layers of functional detail necessary for operating independently within enemy territory, albeit in a less sophisticated manner than later designs. The power source for these systems and the armor's servos was a highly efficient, though bulky, fusion core integrated into the backpack, capable of sustaining the armor's functions for extended periods during critical operations. The tactical role of the Saturnine-clad Terminators was therefore sharply defined by their strengths and weaknesses. They were the spear tip of a breach, the unyielding anchor point, the unstoppable tide in a close-quarters meat grinder. Dropped via dedicated terminus pattern assault formations or teleported directly into the heart of enemy defences, their purpose was to survive the initial overwhelming defensive fire, the hails of heavy bolter rounds, multi-melter blasts, and Volkite fire, and then systematically clear the area. Their integrated heavy weapons would suppress or obliterate key enemy strongpoints, while the power fists would smash through fortifications, vehicles, and any foe foolish enough to stand in their path. They move like slow thunder, an inevitability clad in iron. There is no retreating from them, only dying in their path. However, this immense defensive capability came at a significant cost in operational flexibility. A unit of Saturnine Terminators could not effectively screen flanks, perform rapid deployments, or engage in protracted pursuit. They excelled in point assault and static defense, holding a critical breach or objective against impossible odds. Their limited mobility made them vulnerable to being outmaneuvered or bypassed if the tactical situation allowed, and they required significant support to reach their objectives if teleportation was not feasible. The intricate details of their deployment planning needed to account for these limitations, ensuring they were committed where their strengths maximized impact and their weaknesses minimized risk. Comparing the Saturnine to its later Heresy-era counterparts highlights its place in the evolution of Terminator armor. The cataphracti pattern, while still immensely tough, introduced integrated pauldrons and slightly improved articulation. The Tartarus pattern offered significantly enhanced mobility and sensor capabilities, bringing it closer to the Monolier pattern seen in the 41st millennium, albeit with slightly less broad protection than the Saturnine or cataphracti. The Saturnine pattern, with its uncompromising bulk and integrated armaments, represents the initial brute force approach to the problem of ultra-heavy infantry, a testament to the Imperium's early reliance on overwhelming power and resilience. Despite its operational drawbacks comparable to later patterns, the Saturnine pattern holds a significant place in their history and lore. Its sheer antiquity and association with the glory of the days of the Great Crusade and the tragic battles of the Horus Heresy lend it an aura of legend. While largely phased out by the 41st millennium in favour of the ubiquitous Indomitus pattern, examples of Saturnine armour persist in the armories of ancient chapters, particularly those with deep roots in the Heresy era. These suits are often reserved for the most veteran warriors, relics worn into battle not only for their enduring protective qualities, but also as symbols of the chapter's long and brutal history. The intricate details of their battle honours, etched onto the ancient plate, tell tales of battles fought millennia ago. Against such walls, only patience and overwhelming force will suffice, and patience is a luxury we rarely possess. In conclusion, the Saturnine pattern of Tactical Dreadnought Armour is far more than just an early model. It is a foundational piece of Imperial military technology, embodying the raw, unrefined power of the Great Crusade era. Its design details, focused relentlessly on survivability and integrated close-quarters firepower, reflect the brutal challenges faced by the nascent Imperium in forging its dominion. While superseded by more versatile designs, the image of a Saturnine-clad Terminator remains potent, a walking fortress, an unstoppable force of nature, an adamantine shell against which the enemies of mankind break and are destroyed. Its legacy endures into the deep lore of the galaxy, a reminder of the scale of conflict and the sheer resilience required to survive in the grim darkness of the far future. And so I have now covered the content for this video, but if there's anything that has been missed, please share them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this content, please like the like and subscribe waypoints, or join to become an acolyte down below so that more people can learn from the archives. Consider continuing your journey into the librarium with the video displayed on screen. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only war.